There we go. So we should all be working now. Um, hey guys, it's been a really long time. So I wanted to come on. I had a few minutes, which normally doesn't happen, but I wanted to come on and just talk to you about some of the updates that I've been noticing that's been happening and how this may affect you, and how you guys are dealing with it, and to give you guys some observations that I've been noticing, and also just to kind of build off what I've been experiencing and what others have been experiencing. So that's what I wanted to come talk to you today. So I hope that more of you guys will pop in. I know these are always really random. So if you're here, say hi. And I just wanted to start off with just a very small light language blessing. And it's been so crazy here. So I'm a little exhausted, but I'm super excited to be here with you guys for this check-in and live chat. Hey Val, I'm so excited you're here. Okay, so I just want to give a short blessing and then we'll start in. And I want to hear what you guys have been up to as far as your work on yourselves and your spiritual work, or your whatever you call it, your understanding of yourselves and what's been going on, and how you've been able to integrate things that have come up, or what you've been having a hard time with. And hopefully I can help you guys through this, because there's a lot happening right now. So we're going to go into it in just a second. Nushutoko otiask tiata alatiatos kunono, iaskala atiato ushkuptiatias kniatiatila atiata, kasitiatata naskatiata boshukatiata, sanatiatalo ushkutiapo onushkutiapo shkutiatas kna, iaska ahushuto, kalia atiatas kna at kupiatias kniata lo opiatia, kaska naha la. Namaste. Okay. Hello, Delphine. You're new. It's very exciting to have you here, Lisa. It's been such a long time, and I apologize. Life is just, I don't know. I think it's probably because I am one of those people who don't ever rest. Like, I will finally rest when I collapse from exhaustion, right? Or when I'm forced to rest. And so that's why I wish I try to make a point to come on more, but sometimes it doesn't happen. But this is the moment. This is the now. It's meant to happen now. So let's start. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about life, about your path as you walk it, and how you've been experiencing things and what's actually happening out there now. So, I mean, let's not focus on so much on the physical world, because we all know what's going on in the physical world, right? Most of us have been at home. We've had to make other arrangements, and life has changed. And one of the reasons building off this is because the world is changing. Obviously, it makes sense, right? But what does that mean for what people call the ascension? And these words are so silly to me. The ascension. What does that mean for those of us who are working on our individual selves and trying to raise our vibrations and work through things and become all that we can be? How is it affecting us? So the one thing I wanted to mention is, if you haven't noticed it yet, there may be some difference in your dreams. I don't know if some of you, you'll have to let me know in the chat, if some of you are frequent astral travelers. If you're frequent astral travelers, let me know. If you have dreams in color, which I think most of us have dreams in color, but that they're very vivid and that you can remember them, let me know in the chat if that is something that you're used to, or if this is new for you. Also, let me know in the chat if you guys are experiencing your dreams or astral experiences in a different way. If you are now able to, and this is what is coming in for some of you. So those of you that don't have this yet, as you keep working on yourself and building your fourth dimensional energies, and if you're not familiar with how to do that, We talk about it in my other live stuff, but basically you have to focus on you, and you have to meditate, and you have to draw in those fourth dimensional energies. Your expansion as yourself in your human body isn't just going to happen. It's not going to be like a miracle of like all of a sudden, boom, like now you can see in 4D. And I've witnessed a lot of people saying in these starseed groups and these like ascension groups and things like that, that they are now fully in 4D, and I've seen some people say now they're fully in 5D. And I just think to myself, do you guys even know what that means? So for those people who think that, it's perfectly fine. Like that's their world. If that's if that's how they want to live, if that's what they want to think, there's nothing wrong with it. It's their world, and each individual you has a different world within you, right? So it's not to say that they're wrong. It's just I have lots of questions. I always have questions. Those who say that they're living in 4D and 5D 100% of the moment should be able to see on my hands right now which fingers have rings on and which fingers don't. And if they can't see that, then I'm guessing that they're not in that moment, in that now, living in the 4D and the 5D. So to bring that energy in, you guys have to work on yourselves. What does that mean? This is what is the most important thing happening out there. So let's just set everything aside for a second of like the world going on outside. Now, everybody has come in with purposes, right? So some of you are active in the outside world and in the political world, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. Like everybody has their own mission, but the true way that this is going to facilitate itself in the best possible and quickest possible way for everybody to have a sense of higher evolution, higher dimension, higher energy is to work on yourself. And I am so serious when I say that it is the most important thing you can do. Obviously, help others, be nice, be kind, be courteous. I mean, those are things that show that you've been working on yourself, right? So when you work on yourself, there's things that are going to come up. And the more you process these and work through these things, and they're going to be individual for everybody, the more that you integrate them. And it's not so much saying, oh, I had this really crappy, shitty thing happen to me as a kid, and I'm totally over it. But you're refusing to acknowledge what it's actually done for you, what lessons you've learned from it, how it's actually helped you. Once you can do that, then you've integrated it, and that's when it's served its purpose. And that is when you make space for new energies. And these new energies are coming in more rapidly than in the past. Let's just say that. Right now, without giving like a complete update as far as what's going on out there, energies are still kind of crazy, and like fourth dimensional energy is having a tougher time coming to the planet, but it is still coming. And when you work on those things and integrate those things and then release them, that's when that fourth dimensional energy can come in for you guys. That's when your dreams and such start changing. So I'm like, all of a sudden there's all these questions, or everybody's commenting. So hang on just 1 second. We'll get to those in a second. But what I wanted to say is, as you guys progress, your dreams are going to be changing. And this is something that's really important, that's going to be starting soon, if it hasn't started already. So those of you who are not dreaming in color, I highly doubt nobody is at this moment. I think everybody is. That's like an evolutional jump. Some people don't dream in color. Then you start dreaming in color. And then after you start dreaming in color, you can't remember them. Then you start remembering. So there's like this process of things that happen. For a lot of people, that's going to start happening now because they can remember their dreams. They're not always, let me explain how this works. When you dream, We've kind of talked about dream world a little bit. We touched on it. You have to go back to the other videos, but many of the dreams go into the subconscious. The subconscious is a place where they're held, but it's not brought into your conscious mind. So even though you've had them at nighttime, it's not like you can remember them. So the next step is remembering them. And it's not that you're going to remember all of them, but the dreams that you do remember in this moment, in this now, you have to pay attention to. So if you don't have a dream journal or don't write anything down, please start writing your dreams down. The ones that you remember are going to be super important for upcoming, what's going on in your life, how you're working through things, more so than before. Okay, so those of you that can remember your dreams and that are figuring out, okay, so this is what this interpretation means. This is how I brought it into my life. This is, you kind of got it all figured out. The next thing that you're going to be doing in your dreams is you're going to be, for some of you, you will be starting to have your senses starting working in your dreams. So when we talk about seeing, some of you are visualizing, are seeing your body doing things. Some of you are actually in that body doing things, but you're going to start smelling and tasting and such in your dreams, which is super exciting for me. I've been doing it very slowly. I've been starting to do this, so it's not like I've always had this ability, but it is coming in more so. And so it's harder for me in this moment to determine which dreams are astral dreams and which dreams are just dreams. Because in my astral dreams, this is why I wanted to know how many of you are professional astral travelers. In my astral dreams, I always have my senses with me for the most part. And the ones that I'm allowed to remember that go from my subconscious to my conscious, I have very good memory of them. I'm always doing stuff in them as me. And now in my dreams, it's the same thing, where before I could always tell the difference. So that is something that's going to be happening to some of you if it hasn't already. Let me just take a look and see what you guys are all chatting about here. Extending everything with reflection within. Yeah, so Ascended Love was saying that going within, seeing everything as a reflection within. And the people that I talk to on a daily basis, it's been very interesting and exciting to see how different and unique each of us are. But in that uniqueness, in that individuality, we share common traits. And what I've noticed from the groups that I work with or that I participate in is that those people who have not utilized their past present, meaning your life, your current life, your experiences in your current life, have not learned those lessons, what they're trying to teach you, or have not understood some of the more crappier circumstances in a way where it benefits you. Those people are sort of struggling with all the stuff that's kind of coming at them now. Those people who have not understood or let's just say understood past lives, who have not, because some of the people that I hang out with haven't even really looked at their past lives, or I call them past experiences. But this is where in your evolution in this now moment, this is where your past lives are coming in and are very important. So those that have not really delved into the correlation between their current life and how it related to a past life experience, those people are struggling more. So if past lives are something you are not interested in, it's not the end of the world. But I can say for those who have delved into it and remembered or had help remembering some of their past experiences and have understood why they happened a certain way and have been able to relate them into their current life with what's all coming in now energy-wise, and the quick path that a lot of us are on, that we're getting all this stuff thrown at us, and sometimes it's very confusing. Those that have integrated those past experiences seem to have a cushion, So it's not so hard with all this new stuff coming in. So yes, that's very true. Everything reflecting within. Maturity, one, what's true? I'd love you to do some guided meditations that we can do in the living group. Yes, I would actually, Lisa, I would love that. I will have to meditate and write them down and see what they want me to do for you guys, but I'm more than happy to do that. I don't know if you have time to do this, if you have a business, you tend to. I really appreciate you asking, but yeah, let's see if we can get at least one. If I can get one out within the next month, that would be amazing. Hemisync. I don't know. Actually, Asen, I'd love you to have to tell me what that is. I don't know what that is. So here's the thing. If those of you that are familiar with my channel know me a bit better than those who are just coming in, I am so busy with what's going on in my current experiences and with the outer experiences in galactic meetings and stuff like that, that unless it's something specific happening to me, where I'm like researching stuff to figure out, what's going on, or chatting with my team and they're like, hey, you have to go look up the Hemisync stuff. I don't look up any of this stuff. I don't watch other people's channels. Not to say that that's a bad thing. I think that's a great thing to watch other people's channels. I just don't know about all this stuff. So you have to fill me in. The dream gives key codes that are important. That is really true. And it's going to be so much more like in the past. Yes, they would give you codes and you have to kind of figure out what it's meaning, but it's like built up. If it was like a number 2 in the past, like 2% important, it's going to be like 4% important, which is double. And that's like a really big step. So how to spot truth. All right. So this is really important for your progression, for everybody's progression, because there's so much crap that is thrown at you day after day. Even in the Ascension groups, in the Starseed groups, and sometimes it gets confusing as to what's true. This is how you discern the truth. The truth has nothing to do with the brain. It has nothing to do with the brain. So although somebody may write something or post something and you're thinking about it and you're thinking, oh, that seems logical, or, oh, that could possibly happen. What you have to do is you have to shut your brain off, which is super hard. But you can do it. And I'll tell you how I've learned to do it in just a second. You have to shut your brain off and you have to filter it through the heart. The brand new information that's coming forward scientific wise, I do read scientific journals and archaeological journals and things like that. So the new information that's coming forward is that the heart actually has a brain within it. And without having the paper in front of me, I'm not going to be able to expand on that too much, but that we have been taught as a society to think with this brain up here, but what would happen if we thought with this brain down here? Your heart always knows the truth. So you have to get reacquainted with your heart. And in this society, this is what we lack. This is where a lot of our problems come from, because we're thinking with our head only. We're not really thinking with the heart. And so once you start thinking with the heart, you will know the truth, whether it resonates with you or not. And again, your truth may not be somebody else's truth. It doesn't make it wrong, but you will know what the truth is. But you have to go through your heart in order to do that. I've never known that people don't dream in color. So yes, fascinating enough as the evolution. So this is also the evolution of the humans. So it's difficult to say that because in the past humans were many times more evolved than like the current humans. But the current humans, let's say in like 1900s, 1920s, when they first started focusing on dreams and what people were experiencing, they would interview people, and a lot of them would say they did not dream in color. So now when they interview people, they're like, oh, we always dream in color. Why would we not dream in color? And so from my understanding of it and from the way that my team upstairs is telling this to me, is that it comes with the evolution of the human into the energies that are coming in. So the human of the 1920s is not the human of today, if that makes sense. Because, and let me explain why. Because the energies that were on Earth in the 1920s are not the energies now. And so can somebody still have the like 1920 type human? Yes, they can, because they have to be willing to accept those energies. This is the whole deal with free will. Like, you have to be willing to work on yourself to accept the new energies. But in general, it's a different human. And as the human evolves, they dream in color. And now, as the next part of the evolution for a lot of humans here, they're going to be using their senses in their dreams, which is going to be very exciting. Let's see. So I wasn't remembering my dreams. Now I'm more awake and I remember the feeling. I can only remember parts of the dream. So let me explain the reason why you guys don't remember dreams. Okay. You as a human and as a soul in this human suit, the human brain can only handle so much. So if you were to remember all of your dreams, and most of you guys, if you're tuning into my channel, most of you astral travel and work on the grids and do all that fun stuff. If you were to remember all that, it would be complete overload for your brain. And I know this because I've experienced it numerous times. When I was first adjusting to remembering so much in my nighttime experiences, it was very, very overwhelming. And so when I was talking with my team, this is what they've explained. So the only reason that you remember a dream, that it comes from your subconscious to your conscious, is because it is important. So if you actually remember something that happens, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you have this crazy experience that you remember, use your phone and make a recording of it or jot it down real quick, because that's important. If you remember them now, it's important. And so as you progress and as you collect those fourth dimensional energies, and as you collect the magic, we can talk about that later, you're going to start remembering more of your experiences, because your brain is slowly expanding as well with those energies. You have to have a certain amount of fourth dimensional energy. I'm talking with my hands a lot today, so I apologize if it's annoying. You have to have a certain amount of fourth dimensional energy in your brain in order to not only remember your dreams, but in order to facilitate the understanding of what's actually happening and determining whether you are astral traveling or if it's just a dream experience. So that's why in the past it's easier to not remember your dreams, but now you're going to start remembering them. So it's intuition. Your emotions know the truth. If you know. Okay, so intuition, I want to talk about this for just a second. Intuition can be very tricky. Intuition depends a lot on, yes, your heart space, yes, your brain space, but it also depends on the current, how do I want to say this? Emotional energy that you're in, right? So everybody has an intuition, but that intuition is only as pure as the person's energy system. And as if the person brings more through the heart, their intuition is going to be a bit more pure than the person who brings the intuition through the brain. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Not that intuition is wrong at all. Intuition is great. Go with your intuition. That's the first step for not using your brain as much and going off gut feelings. And this is where your team and guides guide you. But intuition can be very tricky. And we're not going to get into that tonight, but that would be another topic for the future. So, but I do agree that intuition is important, and your emotions know the truth. If you know what vibrations of truth, yes, exactly what a send to love sound. Let me read this. It is intuition. Your emotions know truth if you know what vibrations of truth are and what your feelings and knowledge of truth is. Yes, that's very good, very good. Better than what I said. Better than not what I said, better than how I said, because we said the same thing. Okay, it links your hemispheres together. Let me see, your logical. Just know from experience. Knows from experience the knowledge is your soul is sixth dimension. So a lot of us, the reason why a lot of us are able to remember our past experiences is because we are higher evolved souls. You're talking about the sixth and seventh dimensions coming into a lower density and lower dimension. Density and dimension are two different things. So for a lot of us, once we're able to slough off the human programming, the societal programming, we have access to our true selves, which in a higher dimension is the reason that we can remember our past lives. And let me explain this to you. So your past lives are numerous. They are so numerous. I can't even come up with a number. They're so numerous. When you are upstairs and you're having help figuring out what you're going to do when you come in, how everything is going to fold, and you're setting up your life path, you are able to not only pick from your past experiences, those that you need, the grapes that you need from your bushel to put into your now human, into your now soul, but also you get to pick grapes, pieces of grapes from other people's past lives experience too, to help you. And so even though you may think you've had a past experience as something or someone, you may not have, but yet it's so real to you. And in this now moment, it doesn't really matter. It's there for a reason. And it doesn't matter if you really physically haven't experienced it yourself, or if you have. What you're supposed to do from those, if you can remember them, is you're supposed to pull the lessons from them so they can integrate into your now moment and help you as you progress with your energies and with your understandings. Let's see. Okay, so we made it to the bottom. Let me see. Your intuition works on how honest and aware your soul individual is, knowing, carrying emotional levels, working towards spiritual truths. Yep, exactly. So, all right, so we were talking about the dreams, and this information that I'm giving you came from experiences and talks with a group that is called the Dream Lords, and I'm not going to really talk about them much, but they help with all of your experiences in your dreams and such. And so this is the one thing I wanted to address with you guys, was the dreams. The other thing that I wanted to address with you is that because we're going through such a big period of change, each one of you is experiencing this different. And while we can always say, because every time I come on, I'm always like, it's been really crazy lately and the world's upside down, and, it's been really hard and everything is changing. And it's true for this time too, except that for this time, I actually believe legit energies are actually coming in to have bigger changes than just, always saying, oh, everything is changing. So this time it is actually true that we are having more energies coming in and getting you guys ready if you're willing to accept them. And a lot of times it's all about sitting with who you are. Who have you become? Who do you feel you are? And this is where a topic that my friends and I have been talking about a lot, because as we discuss between each other what has been happening like on week to week basis and such, we're realizing that there are these lessons that come up about releasing what we thought or what worked in the past but no longer works now. And I wanted to touch on just a little bit on fear. And I wrote down a couple things about fear. So we had a question come up the other day about what do you do with fear? How do you navigate fear? And I think it's a legit question, because fear comes from a lot of different things in our life. Not only does fear come from what would be in the future, but if I drop this because it seems to be no longer serving me, then what do I have to grasp onto when everything is brand new? Does that make sense? So a lot of times we hang on to things because we fear the future, or we say, okay, so we made it this far. I can't let go of this, even though it doesn't serve me anymore. I fear to let go of this. I fear what's going to happen if this is no longer in my life. So this is what was channeled when we were talking about fear the other day. So the question was, what do you do with fear? And the answer was, confidence with yourself helps overcome obstacles. So let's just start there for a moment. How many of you are confident in who you are? And this is something that you don't have to answer in the chat, but you know if you feel worthy, you know if you feel confident, you know if you feel happy with self, if you feel content with self, if you're confident in saying, I am amazing, I struggle sometimes, but that's okay, because in my struggles, it only makes me stronger, and I learned so many lessons, and I'm really happy for those lessons. And so my confidence has grown dramatically within the last couple years as I have constantly been facing all these crazy things that have been happening to me. So the first thing is, confidence with yourself helps overcome obstacles. You will experience less fear when you trust in yourself to allow your heart to know that you have the confidence to overcome or learn from that experience which gives you fear. So let me read that one more time, because it's such a simple thing, but it's something that I never really thought of in that way before. So how do we overcome fear? You will experience less fear when you trust in yourself to allow your heart to know that you have the confidence to overcome and learn from that experience in which you fear. And also, fear is the lack of trust and confidence. So if there's something specific that you're fearing or you're afraid of, that is the universe showing you that there is a lack of trust or confidence in that area of your life, and that is something that needs to be looked at a little bit closer. And once you trust yourself enough to know that no matter what happens, you can overcome it. And not only can you overcome it, that you're going to learn something from it, which is going to help you in the future. It's going to help you become more confident within yourself. Then that fear goes away. So fear are lessons that are not learned and that you may have to revisit. What you need to learn from your fear, what you need to learn will be brought up through fear. Does that make sense, you guys? Fear shows you where there has been no movement in your energetic wheels, and it can actualize in the body. So any fear that comes up is showing you where there has been no movement, where the energy is stagnant in your life, and what needs to come up for a reevaluation. And if it doesn't, if this continues, this is when it can come into the body. and it can actually, they always say like diseases show themselves because of blockages or of emotional, like those things that are not dealt with can breed disease. It's the same thing. So I wanted to touch on that too, because once you learn that you can look at fear in your life or being afraid of something in your life as just another rung on the ladder to climb of your evolution, it totally changes the game, right? So the other thing that I wanted to touch on is I asked today, I said, what am I going to be talking about? And the Enigma card with Archangel Raziel came forward. Raziel, which is so interesting because I just channeled him last night. So it was really interesting to me that he came forward again. So let me just read this for you. Archangel Raziel brings to your attention the secrets of life, the sacred mysteries that have been wrapped in the enigmatic vapor of spirit. If you have recently felt perplexed by a spiritual question or puzzle, reflect on this icon and the inscrutable smile of the Da Vinci canvas and Mona Lisa. When you do, Raziel's heartfelt light will illuminate your quest. For you see, Raziel sits at the left-hand side of the divine, and therefore has a distinct privilege in being close to God. For the exquisite archangel eavesdrops on all of God's conversations. For 500 years, the painting has been considered a startling evocation of the divine feminine, and Raziel suggests that there is an aspect of your own feminine force that needs restoring for you to feel completely enraptured by clarity, rather than held back by the gray veil of confusion. Feel enchanted by Raziel's extraordinary presence, particularly through the connection of Raziel's heart sigil. Surrender to source, and the exquisite angelic force will speak through the magical impulses to you. Chant Hey through your brow chakra. And this is something else that has come up recently, not only about fear and confusion, but it's come up a lot about how we've been noticing that a lot of more people are working on their integration of not necessarily integrating the divine feminine, but for some it may be, but what they're doing is they're balancing their divine feminine and divine masculine. So think about that. If something comes up, like where is this? Is this more of a masculine thing or a feminine thing? Does this bring fear? And so all of these things that I'm talking about right now are meant to have you progress in not only in your path that is uniquely divine to you, but also things that we've noticed that's been coming up in the collective. And so do you guys have any questions about any of this? I did pull one more card, and this card is the Solar Consciousness card. And this talks about the aspects of human consciousness and how the sun represents the highest potential of consciousness, the higher self. This is the higher self card. You have pulled the card because either you are ready or have a very strong connection to your higher self, or it is time to develop that relationship. This is also a card of integration. And this is what we're talking about today, you guys integrating all of this stuff. Solar consciousness compels us to integrate our parts and become whole again. This process happens naturally as we connect with and become the higher self. The process has already begun. So that is the main things that I wanted to come and talk to you guys about today. Do you guys have any questions? It doesn't have to be on this topic. It can be on anything. But I just wanted to bring that forward, that we're in a big evolution moment here as far as all of us are concerned, our humans here, the planet. There's actually a lot going on right now. I was writing this down the other night, and we always talk about, a lot of times on our missions, right? We talk about what are our missions. A lot of us, we know that we have missions, but we're not really sure what they are. And I just wanted to remind you guys all that there is not just one mission happening here. at this moment on this planet. It's not just one specific thing. There's a lot of stuff happening. And I came up with a few. I came up with 6 of them. Okay. And so I just wanted to read these off for you guys so you understand that, yes, we have this bigger mission of raising the vibration of the planet and raising all of our vibrations and working on ourselves so our bodies can handle the extra 4th dimensional energy that's coming in. But there's all of this stuff going on. And so number 1 was getting the planet and its people updated in vibration to move to the next phase of the next dimensional thought process and life for our planet. So that's the one most people are aware of, right? And we're all working on that. Number 2 is right now there is a massive mission where we are trying to reactivate all of the stargates on this planet that have been dormant for so long. And there's a lot of us that are working on those stargates, not only in the 3D, some of us are working on them in the 3D. Let me know if you guys need to know what stargates are. I will explain what stargates are if you need to know. But a lot of us in astral are working on these stargates too, helping to fix the grids and such. So when the new DNA gets put into the stargate, you have to have the old DNA first, and then the new DNA can get put into these stargates. So this is a big process, and this is missions for some of the people on the planet right now. And that was number 2. And number 3 is a lot of us, even though maybe not in our 3D, we are working really hard to try to keep the planet from flipping. Things are a little unstable right now on the planet, and this is a major deal. So number 4, we're a lot of us are working on first contact, right? Even though I'm so, I resonate so much with galactic life and galactic groups and all of this stuff. We don't really talk about like the galacticness so much on this channel, even though I would like to, but it doesn't come up as much as it probably should. But for first contact, there's a lot of things happening right now. A lot of us sit in meetings in our astral time. A lot of us are being given information during the day on these meetings and what's all happening and who's on board and who's not on board and who attended the last galactic government meetings and so forth. All the contracts that are in. In fact, there's a big deal going on right now where we are trying to get the votes to be able to have many galactic races have sort of like a manual for galactic races set up. So eventually we can flip through and we can know more about all of these galactic races because we're familiar with some of them, right? But let me tell you guys, there are tons of galactic races out there. And so when we talk about first contact, we really need to understand more than just the main groups at play. So people are working on that. Also magic. There's a lot of people working on bringing magic to this planet right now. And the old magic, like we think about in movies, like I'm just trying to think of like Sword in the Stone, right? Disney Sword in the Stone, all that old kind of magic. That magic is gone and there's a new magic coming in. And a lot of people are working on bringing that magic in and bringing that information, downloading that information that they're given, writing out all of the history of it and how to use it and how to collect it and all that stuff. And so then number 6 has to do with something that I'm not really prepared to talk about yet because it's just not time to talk about it yet. But it has to do with the universe, the earth, and discs and crazy things. So I just want to reiterate to you guys that this is massive. Not you guys being here and being able to function in a normal human life with all of the outside influences going on, plus knowing that you're so much more than human. You're so much more than what everybody wants you to think you are, and working on yourself and expanding in all the ways that you're expanding, plus then working on all of your missions. I mean, this is like a big thing. You guys need to congratulate yourself for the fact that you've gotten this far, right? And if you're tuning into this channel, you guys are amazing, because this channel is not easy to find. I do that for a reason. So the fact that you guys are here is really, really important and really, really special. So I know that I've been rambling a lot today, but I think that's really what I wanted to say. So unless there's any questions, I will give a light language blessing and we will shut her down. So thank you guys so much for being here, and I'm not seeing any more questions rolling in. I see you guys, there's 4 of you watching. So those of you who are watching later, please feel free to put any questions down below and we'll get to them as well. So just keep being the awesome, shining lights that you are, because the world needs you. You are super important, even in your lowest days, when you think that you can't continue, or you think that you're questioning yourself if you're crazy. You know, you guys are amazing, and you're doing such an amazing job with juggling everything. And I don't think it gets said enough. So I'm really proud of you, and I'm really happy that you guys were all here together and we're all doing this together. So with that said, I want to give a light language blessing, and then we will say goodbye for another day. So Guto shudaya sana ata ka upa uto ko ushukya ka at inusku ushk. Iata kulu uto ka ashiti iska ne ato lu ushukoto taska adia shuko unaza ta ala asha ko upa to usko unatiaska uloto ka asha na hasa iano to pokuto pasanatia to osha na aska la ata pa uto ushko uta ta aska ana la ia to upa uta ata iet ato do tiata tiasku tiata to tiata ta ala oto to tiata ta tiata skuto piashata nask tiata ola bonosko o ta saktiata piashkuto osk anatia na hala io sobojotto ta asaniata ka ama talaskiato ta napa pialo upatia ka ashotoma saniliato to osko dasha Nahala. Namaste. All right. So thank you guys so much for joining. And I don't see any more questions or any more comments. So I think that's about it. I do want to come on and talk about what I've learned with channeling so far. But we'll save that for another day. So thanks, guys. Have a great night.